welcome. We have with us Shankar Prasad, CEO and founder at Plum, which is India's first 100% vegan and cruelty-free beauty and personal care brand, which has just recently also appointed Mithila of Carvan and Little Things fame as their first brand ambassador. Hello, Mr. Prasad.
Hi, thanks for having me here. Lovely to be here.
The pleasure is mine. When you started off a few years ago, did you feel that in a cost-driven market like India, people would actually care for vegan products and there was real scope for Plum?
Yeah, I mean, this is a trend that I think started off in general, the trend towards clean beauty and more specifically things like vegan, cruelty-free and organic started somewhere in the first decade of the millennium in the West. And the prediction was that about a decade later, it will come to India. And I think that prediction was true. So when we started in 2013-14, it was very early days for the clean beauty movement or the conscious beauty movement, depending on how you define it. It was very, very early days. But I think what we've seen in the last half a decade or so is this is people being very conscious about what they consume, not just in beauty and personal care, but also in areas like food and fashion. So, and it's still a very small percentage of the, let's say, population that is conscious about what they consume, but it's seeping in quite fast down the layers. And therefore, I think I always had a belief and a hope that this will work out, but I think in hindsight, it has indeed worked out. I'm glad to see people embrace, more conscious forms of consumption.
Okay. And like you mentioned, now we are more conscious about organic products and, vegan products and even food for that matter. But right now, because there are so many players out there in the market, what separates Plum from the rest of the brands, like maybe like Mama Earth, Mom's Co, which are also established, like fairly established themselves? And from a quality perspective and from an end user perspective.
Right. Every brand has their, let's say, what they're best known for. And what they're best known for is either in terms of product, in terms of, let's say, the imagery or the emotional bond that they share with the customer. Talking about Plum specifically, I think we stand for honest, authentic, and efficacy-driven skincare, and not necessarily just sort of measure it in percentage terms and number of days and weeks, but actually works on skin over the long term and leaves no side effects. And that's what we are best known for. And you sort of build a reputation as a brand, as a person. Whenever people think about a brand or a person, there is a certain reputation that they carry about themselves. And I think the reputation that we've managed to build for Plum over the last few years is of this honesty, authenticity, and efficacy of delivery, particularly in skincare. That's what sets us apart as point number one. Point number two is, I think, the sense of humor that the brand has, particularly the sister brand Plum Body Lovin', or even sometimes when we talk about our own skincare, we are not an ultra serious, somehow anyhow get your things done kind of a brand. We do take a lighthearted approach to the world of beauty. And we do believe that the world of beauty has to be delightful and not just delivery focused.
Okay.
So I think somewhere this sort of, sweet spot that we occupy between delight and delivery and at a price point that is not costing a bomb is, I think, what sets us apart and continues to set us apart as we move forward.
But as of now, what kind of challenges are you facing in this booming beauty space?
Well, I think, as you said, the space is booming. And as I always mention to my team, we are fortunate to be in an industry which has the kind of demographic, let's say, setup that we have in terms of age of the people, in terms of consumption, propensity, in terms of the willingness or a desire to upgrade, to explore, to learn. So from a demand side, it's a very strong, let's say, setup that we are looking at. Therefore, most of the, let's say, challenges are to do with strategy and execution internally, and that is par for the course for any business that is scaling at the rate at which we are. And it's not static that we solve the same challenge that we were solving 12 months from now. The challenges I was solving 12 months from now are very different from what I am currently working on. It's going to be very different from what we'll be doing 12 months from here on. So if you ask me about at this moment in time, what are the things I am sort of occupied with, it's about number one, what we've done in the last year or so is significantly amped up our team strength and skill sets in marketing, in the space of digital commerce, in the space of supply chain, in the space of innovation. So I think the one big thing for me is to make sure that all these gears are meshing well with each other, and that there are no gaps and there is no missed, let's say, communication lines, particularly in a situation where there is partial work from home, office, whatever, the hybrid thing that's going on. Second thing is, as we continue to ramp up, making sure we get the right talent. And to me, talent is not just what the resume says, it's about what conviction they have about what we are doing and how excited they are about being on this journey with us. That's the second big thing. And of course, once we recruit people, getting them back into step one, which is to make sure that they're gelling well with the rest of the organization and the functions. The third one is to be able to get a better handle on the digital funnel. And the funny thing about the digital funnel is that it is not a static, thing that one is just pouring things down. It's continuously evolving because people are shifting inside the funnel. Channels are getting added or subtracted or edited in that funnel. Our own products have varying impacts on various stages of the funnel as we keep innovating. Our own new categories have varying impacts on the funnel. So sort of managing this funnel, or let's say leveraging this funnel for the right output at the bottom of the funnel, is a mammoth task. And it's a very resource intensive task from a people point of view and from a money point of view. So thankfully we have a team now which is sort of focused on making sure that this digital funnel is rocking as much as possible all the time. But it's a very dynamic and you get impacted by what else is happening in the market, right? And therefore that is a key operational challenge. And I am leaving out all the other things like making sure we have enough to sell and all those things. But I'm just focusing on the bigger items here.
You are present majorly on digital. I'm talking about advertising part of it. Tell us a little about the strategy, and also why are you not moving to mass media yet?
Yet is a important. So on digital, as I mentioned, it all starts from the funnel, right? So what we have is specific focus on top of the funnel, which further breaks down into various, let's say, media on top of funnel, and they keep evolving as well. Influencer marketing is one big thing. YouTube advertising is another. Facebook is another. OTT platforms are another. Sampling is another one. Now we have affiliate marketing that has started out. So again, channels keep getting added and evolving in the top of the funnel itself. And for us, top of the funnel is a very important part of, and for any brand that is scaling, because you can't necessarily just put all your budget on the bottom of the funnel and somehow convert. That's how most brands start, by focusing on conversion ads and then slowly building into the top of the funnel. Once you develop enough conviction, and top of the funnel takes time to sort of show results. So once you start developing conviction about what you're doing, then it's a question of calibrating what you do on the top of the funnel. So that's on the top of the funnel, very briefly. Bottom of the funnel is split into two big areas. One is what we do with the e-commerce marketplaces. The other is what we do with respect to D2C. D2C for us is like 25 to 30% of our entire digital revenue streams, and therefore it gets that kind of roughly proportional allocation in terms of media. And then you have all the e-commerce marketplaces, each of which has a different dynamic in terms of how the marketing budget should be deployed or can be deployed on them. And therefore, it's like a jigsaw puzzle that needs to sort of add up to something without any gaps or without any as little overlap as possible. The best case scenario is that you are able to assemble your funnel like a jigsaw puzzle and everything is slams into place. But that is an idealistic scenario. Every month is a question of optimization basis one's objectives, basis one's activation such as product launches and whatnot. And we then build from there on. So, and why not? Sorry.
Go on. Sorry.
So why not mainstream media? I think it's a matter of time and budget. I can see it happening very soon.
But as of now, how much do you spend on marketing? What percentage of your revenue?
So it depends on the month. There are months when we maybe have a big launch, or for example, a celebrity getting on board and you just want to go all out there. Those months can go as high as 50% of revenue.
How much? Sorry?
50% of revenue. Yeah. On BAU months, it is probably closer to 30-35% of revenue. If you look at very large companies, they're probably at a 18-20% of revenue. Because we are still in the sort of scale up stage and scaling rapidly. We are deploying the right amounts of money, capital on the right marketing media, and therefore our spends are anywhere upwards of 35% of revenue.
Okay, interesting. And with pandemic, they say has been a good period for all skincare brands. So tell us what kind of revenue growth did you see in the past year, in 2020?
So we've been growing, between 2.3 and 2.5x over the last couple of years, consistently. In fact, our revenue run rates last quarter were upwards of 2.5x over the previous year, right? And the plan for the upcoming financial year is along similar lines. Of course, as the base increases, the task is tougher. But we somehow, given what we saw about the demand, given what we saw about the potential that the brand has across categories and not just skincare, I think we are seeing, we are quite confident of continuing to grow at this pace in the coming year as well.
Okay. And what is the target age group that you have, and why did you get on with Mithila Palkar? Do you feel it's as a skincare cosmetic brand, it's important to have a pretty face or a celebrity attached to it?
Right. So the TG that we have is typically is a 23 plus years of age, and it goes all the way up. Typically, the peak of, let's say, interest, if not consumption, is 23 to, let's say, early 30s. That's our sweet spot. But if you look at our customer profile, it includes people who are above 35 all the way into the grandmothers who also love our products. And we don't have an awful lot of teenagers using our products yet, but I think with some new categories, we should be able to appeal to them as well. For example, a twister kajal, which we did not have. We had a sharpenable kajal, which is slightly more serious product, if you will, within the kajal space. Now with the twister kajal having come in, it's probably going to attract a, adjacent user base as well. So that's our TG, and it's female that we are primarily after with Plum. Fi is a brand for men, but a large portion of our focus is really on Plum. That's our mother brand flagship, and that is clearly targeted at the. I used to call it the urban woman, but it's no longer the case. I was surprised that the top 8 cities account for just under 30% of our revenue. So it's a very long tail of geographies that we are talking. I think it's generally becoming true of the market also, and not specific to us. You'll be surprised how diverse India is and how big India is. Even retail footprint is now in 250 cities for us, 1,000 cities. So it's not just a metro or top 8 city phenomenon. Now coming to the choice of brand ambassador, we had certain criteria before we set out on a search. Why brand ambassador in the first place? It's clearly the familiarity of somebody that sort of, it's a good thing to for the brand to be sort of associated with something that otherwise, sort of attention deficit scenario, overload of information, overflowing news feeds of people. Every little thing you do to sort of get their attention for the right things, it's going to be a good thing for the brand, and that's where the celebrity comes in. More generally speaking, specifically in our case, I think we had three R's that we had with respect to who we should be working with. The first one is real. Real is basically not fake, right? So clean, real, and good is are the basic sort of building blocks of what Plum is about, if you ask me. And real is really about saying it like it is, that kind of approach. Therefore, the celebrity had to have that realness about them. The second thing is recognizable. Obviously, if a celebrity, you are recognizable and sufficiently recognizable. It shouldn't be a niche. And thirdly, relatable. I think the woman of today is very different from the woman that we used to sell to when I was in Unilever, where film stars necessarily were those hyper divas that you simply, it's never the girl next door, right? It's never the girl next door. I think somewhere down the line, celebrities have, thanks to social media and YouTube and stuff like that, you see celebrities sprouting around you more relatably, in a manner of speaking. You're a friend of a friend or something. You sort of have the relatability quotient going. And I think that relatability again plays back into the real part that I spoke about, that if the person is relatable, then you have a much more positive, real association, as opposed to a slightly slapped on, artificial, force fit that sometimes happens with celebrities. Not all the time, but sometimes happens with larger celebrities. So we've been very careful in our search of who we associate with. And of course, being in the beauty and personal care business, traditionally a celebrity association has worked very well for brands of all shapes and sizes in the past. It's really what we are hoping to replicate.
So how soon are you going to see a campaign with Mithila come out?
I think by next month you should see it.
Is it going to be a video campaign? I mean,
video and still, and I mean, we'll be getting into production sometime in the next week or two. Everything got delayed because people fell sick with COVID in sort of batches in January, including ourselves. So the legal team, the agency team, whatnot, and so it's sort of all been offset by 2 to 3 weeks. But I think we have caught up now, and we should hopefully, fingers crossed, be getting into production very soon. And should see it coming out towards the end of this month.
Okay, super. And what about the Plum Squad? What kind of traction is that getting? You just launched it, right?
Still a little, I'm not authorized to speak about it because a big reveal is going to happen soon. But I can tell you this much, that the traction, it just blew me away. When I saw the number of entries, it was an order of magnitude higher than what I imagined it would be. That just goes to tell you, it's an order of magnitude. It just goes to tell you two things. Number one is the popularity of the brand, which is very heartening. The second thing is people's interest in the space of being part of a community, being able to express themselves to others and sort of being in touch with a larger group of people, as opposed to just being passive consumers of content. All of these guys want to become creators. That's the whole idea of with Plum Squad, right? And you'll be surprised at the kind of response that it received. I think the team has done a fabulous job of spreading the message. And hopefully, again, very soon, a week or two, you'll see the results of the exercise. But I'm just very, very heartened by what I've seen there so far.
Okay. And you are a direct-to-consumer beauty and personal care brand with a strong online presence. But what percentage of your sales are happening offline? you've just launched a store in Mumbai, and you're planning to launch one in Chennai as well. And you're, of course, present across. So what is the ratio then? What is the
So
breakup?
we went omni-channel or multi-channel in 2017, roughly about 4.5 years ago. And we've sort of gradually scaled our offline presence. Today, as I said, we are present in over 250 towns and cities with over 900 points of manned counters where you will have a beauty advisor, a product advisor of Plum stationed there. These are outlets like, for example, in a Shopper Stop or in a Health and Glow or even in a larger, let's say, general trade beauty specialist shops across the country. So those are today, 900 plus, and then we have 10,000 odd unassisted outlets. The exclusive outlets is the newest sort of addition to the offline presence. Mumbai, as I mentioned, is the first store that opened about 3 months ago. The second one in Mumbai is opening this month. There's one more opening in Chennai this month again, and few more in the pipeline that we have sort of signed up and are executing the work on. The idea in offline is that at the end of the day, online has a limited screen space, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a mobile. Offline offers you that width of portfolio presence that you can have. And multi-brand again restricts you because the amount of shelf space that you get is limited. We currently have over 150 SKUs.
Okay, wow.
And it's not possible to have them present in every store. Right? But the exclusive stores are the way for us to actually showcase the brand in its best, let's say, form. And retail today accounts for around 35 to 40% of our total sales.
Okay, wow, nice. This is okay, exclusive. Of course, it's too soon to say.
Exclusive is too soon to say because they are very new. Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, I mean, who would you say is bigger competition for you? The L'Oreals of the world, or the organic skincare brands back home, homegrown space?
Both. I see. There's one thing about the beauty industry that's always, I like this aspect about the beauty industry more than thinking of it as competition. If you look at it from the consumer lens, the competition is a very company lens perspective. You take the consumer perspective, take your own example, your friends and family, colleagues. I've never met a person, and especially women, who monopolize with one brand their entire beauty needs. So skin, hair, body, makeup, you will necessarily have multiple brands for multiple subcategories.
Absolutely.
Within, right? Different cleanser, different toner, different serum, different moisturizer, different night cream, different eye cream, different sunscreen, face, body, hair, different shampoo, different conditioner, different oil, different serum. So typically a woman's dresser is going to have upwards of 5 to 6 brands minimum. Nowadays, I think the number is probably in double digits.
Shot up, yes.
Yeah. So, and I don't think this fundamental, the nature of this behavior, of the consumer behavior, is going to change. That they will suddenly fall in love with some brand, one brand, my brand, whichever brand, that they'll just say, I'll just fill the shelf up. It's probably going to look too monotonous also for them. This category lends itself to a lot of experimentation, a lot of discovery, a lot of pampering. She's probably having mental conversations and sometimes physical conversations with friends and colleagues about this category. It's a very, very high involvement category for women especially. And therefore, everything is competition, right? And if you really look at it from a point of view of me talking to the consumer, if I understand her needs about the category that I'm talking about at that point in time really, really well, then nobody is competition. Because it's really that need, said, unsaid, physical, psychological need that these products are meeting. And beauty is not just a physical need you are meeting. It's also a psychological need about the fragrance, about the texture, about the color, about the after feel, whatnot, what's written on the pack that puts a smile on your face. All these things are part of the experience of consuming beauty and personal care for the consumer. And right, so for us, the holy grail is really to offer the best experience possible along time and across categories. And I think that's true for any brand. And I think the brand that is able to do this, brands that are able to do this more consistently and authentically are the ones that I think are going to have larger share of dresser space.
So in that case, we are hopeful that, the dressing table of the women in the country have more and more Plum products finding a way out there.
Look forward to that.
And thank you so much for this candid conversation. Lovely, lovely talking to you.
Likewise. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.